Yo, what's going on everybody? Swagkage here, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about explosion release, Bakutan, or explosion style, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you're anything like me, the first thing you thought when you heard of explosion release was, what? There's a nature based on explosions? It's really weird, I know, but it is in fact a real thing. I always thought that Deidara blowing up his clay was just a creative application of chakra. I never once thought that you would need a Kekkei Genkai to blow stuff up. If anything, you'd figure Deidara's Kekkei Genkai would have something to do with those weird mouths on his hands, but anyway, I digress. Now, like a couple of the Kekkei Genkai I've talked about before, explosion release's composition has never been confirmed. Now, that said, it's pretty widely accepted across the fandom that explosion release is probably made up of earth and lightning. It's confirmed that one of Deidara's affinitive elements was earth, and earth had already been paired up with all three other elements for the composition of other Kekkei Genkai. Earth and fire make lava release, earth and water make wood release, and earth and wind make magnet release. Using basic deduction skills and the process of elimination, everybody came to the conclusion that explosion release was composed of earth and lightning. Now, while I have no idea why these two elements would combine to make an explosion element, this combination is the only one that makes sense, so it's what I'm gonna go with. Well, I've heard a couple people say it would make more sense for this nature to be composed of fire and lightning or something like that. I'm pretty confident that earth has to be one of the components, since, like I said, earth is one of Deidara's affinitive natures, and users of explosion release have all hailed from the Hidden Stone village, where an affinity for earth release is the most commonly seen. Speaking of its users, that's a good segue into explosion release's rarity. While there are only two named characters who use it in the manga, I think it's safe to assume that explosion release is quite a bit more common than many of the other Kekkei Genkai I've mentioned so far. The Hidden Stone has a whole group of shinobi capable of using explosion release called the Explosion Corps, and okay, try to ignore the dumb name. The fact that there's an explosion corps at all does pretty thoroughly communicate that Gari and Deidara aren't the only explosion release users in the series. On the subject of how explosion release works, well, I mean, do you really need me to explain that to you? It's called explosion release. Use it to blow stuff up. Granted, it's a bit more complex than that, since the ability to create explosions can be applied in different ways. You can even just look at Gari and Deidara and see that they both use the nature very differently. Deidara combines his chakra with clay to create bombs of various sizes and power, and primarily uses his talent for explosion release to fight people at a range. Gari, on the other hand, just punches things and causes them to explode. He's all about close quarters combat and is very straightforward. All of his Bakutan jutsu are taijutsu based, so he's pretty much the complete diametric opposite of Deidara. Since the only two explosion release users in the manga apply their ability as differently as they possibly could, you can probably guess for yourself that this is one of the most versatile natures in the entire Narutoverse, and has a whole lot more possible uses than the audience was shown. But still, it's very simple in concept, and there's not a whole lot to say about it at all. Like I said, it's called explosion release, so it's pretty easy to infer what it's used for. As a result, gonna have to end the video here, give you guys another short video, which I'm sure you're used to by now, but I don't like doing it. Next week, I'm gonna be tackling ice release, but to make up for today's short video length, maybe I'll give you guys the Itachi character dissection on Sunday. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I hope to see you then.